You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more.
Well, my this is your boy Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. And today, we're talking indie comics and some genre. Hey, you know, some 420, little something, you know what I mean? Kind of combined in a very wild and creative way. You know, talking about stars and shit, seeing the stars when you bet. Wow, yeah, we're gonna talk about all that. You know, we have the creative duo on deck for this wonderful book. You know, himself for the person that arrived first today on that I got to do it. He is a comic book artist. He's an amazing legend that has worked on titles such as Rick and Morty, The Worst Dudes, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and now this fantastic book that's on Kickstarter. The one, the only Mr. Tony Gregori.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Thank you for coming on. Now let me introduce your writing partner in crime, man. He is a Future Academy Award-winning actor. Let me tell you, man, he's an amazing writer. He got an amazing sense of humor. He's a big boss. You know what I mean? He says my name as well, but over here, boy, let me talk about the one, the only Mr. Lex Wilson. Hey, what up, homies? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Listen, man, it's energy is love. This book is awesome. Thank you for allowing me to read issue 1. I was like halfway through issue 2 when Tony popped in. I had to drop it, but it was getting very intriguing and like, all right. It left me on energy, yes, you know. And again, Starweed and all, and people know, you know, Omega is a herbal aficionado, if you will. You know what I mean? You know, the herbal supplements are, you know, hey, they're here for a reason. but the way you guys manipulate the story here, whoa, everybody also got me curious. I wonder that. That's more of its stuff over here too. So we're gonna talk about all that. It's fun. It's wild. It's comical. It's, you know, it's humor, great humor. Whether you're a stoner or not, it is fucking wonderful humor. So let's get into it. All right. So let me start with my man Alex. You know what I mean? Over here, Al. Tell me where you're OG from, and the most important question you ever get in your life. And Tony, the same for you is gonna happen. You know what I mean? What is the first thing in fandom that you fell in love with?
Okay. Yeah. So I am from Ohio originally in the U.S. and now I'm in North Carolina for the last, I think, 20 years. So that's me. I'm Alex. I'm a writer and actor. First fandom. The first thing that really sticks out, like that maybe lasted longer than, you know, a few months, was probably Gru the Wanderer, the comic by Sergio Aragonés, the Conan parody type thing. That's at least it seems to be that at first, but really it's just this long running series. It also was one of the first times I saw somebody's name above a creator's name above the title. So it kind of probably introduced me to the idea that these are something that people make. These don't just magically appear like Star Wars does or something like that. This is something that, you know, hands have painstakingly done. And I think the letter column might be one of the first things that I read the back matter of. And so that had personality too. So you're like, there's somebody answering these letters. That was the person who, his writing partner on that. So yeah, probably Gru.
Well, that's it. All right, what about you, Tony? Where you OG from and your first love in fandom?
I was born and raised in South Florida. So I was born in West Palm Beach, Florida, and then lived in Fort Lauderdale and Miami for about 30 years. And then I bounced around, was in San Diego for a bit, in Boulder, until about 12 years ago. I settled in Missoula, Montana, and I've been here about 12 years. And my first OG love was probably Batman. When I was a little kid, like little, my dad used to, every Sunday morning, we'd stop by the print store when they used to have print stores on the way to like my grandparents' house. And he would get a newspaper and I would get like 2 comics. And Batman was always my first grab. If there was like a Batman or a Brave and the Bold or Batman and the Outsiders, this is like in the early 80s, you know, like 81, 82. Yeah, and then, you know, that's kind of how I learned to read, you know. So like he would read me those Batman comics at night before I go to sleep, and then once I learned to read, I would, you know, read them myself. Start drawing them myself. That's when my love of comics kind of started.
You have any of those issues left?
Oh my God, dude! I'll show you real quick. I have them on my wall. Hold on.
What? See, man, I love it.
They're right up there. Those are the two. Can you see those?
Yes.
Those are the two issues that I remember as a little kid.
Oh.
And then I framed them and put them above my workspace.
Beautiful. Isn't it nice to keep memories when you first fell in love with something? You know what I mean? Mine's is there, as fucked up as it is, but on a frame, on a nice silver frame, wrapped up Christ Star, Crystal Warrior, #2.
Oh, Crystal Warrior.
JFK Airport, for American Airlines, it doesn't even exist, going to Puerto Rico, because, my mom was like, all right, what do you want? I can keep you calm. I like this.
Yeah.
I bet.
I remember Crystal.
How much I like this. You know how to shut me up. Baby, your brother, I'll bring you some comics. She's bringing me Savage Sword of Conan and other craziness. Transformers, G.I. Joe. I'm like, yo, my mama knows how to pick them. Holy shit.
So what was your first fandom of those? It was the
Christ Stars, and after that, I guess why I got into Barbarian. She let me from that. She got me into Conan, and to this day, I'm a Conan fanatic. I'm trying to finish the Marvel run. I got all the Dark Horse doing all the tie-in. I got all the treasuries.
Savage Sword was such a great read, especially as a kid. Like
we were supposed to see it because there was bazungas and nalgas and all that stuff there. You know what I mean? It wasn't meant for us, but Mama didn't fit through the book apparently.
Yeah, they sold it at a tobacco shop, and I would go in there and be like, "Get that in National Lampoon," and I was like, "This sophisticated, violence and sophisticated humor that I did not understand at all."
I recently found the first one she ever bought me because again that got lost in time, because Mom was throw things out. You go to school one day, you're like, something's off here. Mama went on the cleaning bench. But I recently found the first issue I had. It was with a Conan and a gorilla fighting each other.
That's the shit.
I read that book like 50 million times as a kid, And when I read it, I got so happy. No one understood why I was so enthusiastic. It ain't worth anything I said. It's worth to me.
Yeah, that's the same way I feel about these Batman books. Those two aren't the ones I had when I was a kid. My buddy found those at like in a bargain bin or whatever. I have the older ones in my collection, but they're all like rat-eared and tore up. So I set them put away where they can't get damaged anymore. But I wanted to get like fresher ones to put up on the wall because those covers were just like.
I did the same thing with the Christ. I found the original run for $12 eventually in Queens. The whole run. Which actually replaced my #2, but not replaced. Now my #2 is on the wall now. And if people want to see what that looks like, you can see that you're not touching my original no more. Like I said, it's brittle. If I probably breathe on it, it'll die. Anyway, all right. So let's get into creative tribes. Oh, here we go. I like talking about tribes now. Let me get back to Alex. So, in your geekdom growing up, did you have a tribe or you were a lone wolf?
This was before the internet, not to age me, but I am, let's say, over 16. But yeah, I did not have, I did not know how to connect to the people that had the really obscure fandoms. When I got Dungeons and Dragons, I bought it at Walden Books at the mall.
Walden Books. Oh my God.
Not to really date myself, right? But I would eventually find a few people to play with, but it was always the classic, like we all get together, we finally did it, and we make characters, and like next week we're gonna play, and we never really played things like that. So there were, I did have one friend who was into comics, and we would like trade back and forth just to be reading stuff. When I was reading like X-Men and Spider-Man, and it also exposed me to new stuff. Like it didn't occur to me to buy DC comics until this person had an issue of I think Batman and the Outsiders, maybe it was just the Outsiders, and I thought this is fun too, but I feel like I'm missing a lot of story. So a lot of stuff like that. But really, no, my fandom was kind of a lone wolf thing. And it wasn't until maybe college age or later, especially discovering the internet and learning like, oh, there's not only, communities that are interested in science fiction in general, but, in particular in this one thing. So if there's an obscure TV show that I was into or a movie, I could find my tribe that way. So yeah, that kind of came later. God bless the internet.
For sure. What about you, Tony? What's going on? Were you a lone wolf, or were you one of the cool kids, in your geekdom?
Well, when I was a little kid, I was kind of a lone wolf in the comics. But then when I got into like middle school, I found a friend who was into them as much as I was, and we would just kind of draw them at home. And then when I got into high school, like first 2 years in high school, I played football, so I was kind of a jock, but I was kind of like an undercover geek, if you call it that. And then I stopped playing football, and I embraced my geekdom and just started drawing again. And me and my buddies started making comics again, and that was in the 90s, like 93, 94. So that's right when Image like blew up. So I was, me and my two buddies actually that loved comics. We would go to the local comic shop, it was called Past, Present, and Future in West Palm Beach, Florida, and pick up like try to grab old issues of like McFarlane Spider-Mans or whatever new Image book was coming out with the chromium covers or whatever bullshit they were making. And
Chromium, oh my god, yeah, bro, that was bullshit. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, the reason that they crashed at the time, and I think they still haven't learned their lesson, but the market has also changed a bit, though. So, but I think we're leaning towards it's got to slow down a bit. It's getting a little bit oversaturated. We got to
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be a balance between like collectors and actual aficionados who want to read the books.
Yeah,
Because I mean, it's a problem when the number ones sell so well, and then the sales just drop off a cliff after number one. And to me, that doesn't make much sense, because if you read, I mean, I guess if you read the first issue and you don't like it, it makes sense. But if you did read it and you want to see what's happening, past issue one, I don't understand why people just don't stick with the book and buy it, unless they're just collectors who want number ones.
Yeah, number one. Oh, it's gonna be worth pay for college.
Yeah. Has that ever happened? I don't know. Outside of like a Spider-Man first appearance or something, like I don't
know. I don't know. Maybe not.
Isn't some
who knows?
Isn't some of it opportunity? So with the direct market, you have to place the order. The shops need to place the orders for 2 and 3 before the sales come in for 1, and they're always going to, self-fulfilling prophecy. But that's been a problem like forever. It grew, to bring back that example. I could get that at Walden Books for a while, and then at some point it stopped being available at shops and only available at specialty stores or if you subscribe. I didn't know that. I thought it was canceled. It wasn't until years later I was like, there were more. And so going back to yeah, exactly. So if you have a 3-issue limited series like we just did, and we went through the direct market, they might order generously for the first one, a little less generously, and a lot less generously for the third, before we even knew that people wanted it or didn't, because they have to manage their own risk. So I think you're right. The collector market is a big contributor to that. But I also think that some of our market realities are designed to protect people in the chain, which is great. But the trade-off for that is that what do you do? Like, how do you get those third books into people's hands unless they're going to go to conventions, which is a cost not unlike a variant cover or something.
Yeah, not every indie creator is getting invited to a con to get a comp table, a free trip, free telly. I mean, yeah, that's cost. Then there's food, the expense of just surviving the weekend.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just got back from Rose City, and they gave me a hotel and a table. And that's the first time that's ever happened to me. And
hey, congrats, man!
Yeah.
Tony's made it, everybody. Hey, you gotta get.
Well, it's not just me.
We're all sleeping on your floor next time. Yeah, we're all. Yeah, you should not have said that out loud.
Well, it's because we have I'm in an art collective called El Camino Art,
cool.
And it's myself and 4 other comic artists. So we approached the convention as a group, and they were more apt to like. Help us, bring us in, because they would get at least 3 of us out of the 5 to show up. But if I have a feeling if I went there by myself, they would just be like, "Who are you? I don't know. No one knows who you are." But I'm just saying, to say that is that it was just like the expense on my end was just getting myself there, and then once I got there, it was like, I sold a couple original art pages and then did a commission, and my whole trip was paid for.
Wonderful.
Before I even got to the convention, I had made my money back. But like if I had to drop the money on the hotel and get the table, that's like an extra like $1,000. Like,
yeah, and not everybody has it like that. Not everybody's that liquid. This economy is tough, and as creators, some sometimes, you know, if that's your main, I don't know what if this is your guy's main, but if it is, for example, you know,
it is.
now you can't F around with that money. Like, nah.
Yeah. I write everything off, you know. I got on my trip, I'm keeping all the receipts. I'm like, all right, that's going to the tax man.
Hey, Mr. Tax man, look what you're doing to me. Isn't that crazy? We get paid, get taxed on our salary, and then pay for something and get taxed on it again. Like, wait, did you just tax me already? Yeah, we getting robbed left and right. This is so crazy. Anyway, see, this is what happened. Starweed. I swear I got to smoke some Starweed or something. This is wild. All right, so okay, so you guys, you know, kind of tried this, but kind of did have great creative journeys now. All right, so let me go back to Alex. When did you get the itch? When did you start picking up that pen and saying, okay, I wanna do something and put myself out there? When did you get those cojones and be like, yo, I'm doing it?
Around college age, I started submitting my fiction and other work to publishers, and I had some luck and some not, you know, some absolutely lots of rejections. I didn't know how to submit comics pitches, and I was not an artist, so I probably did that entirely wrong, sending what I guess were queries, but I think I worded them in such a way that they weren't allowed to read them for, you know, worried about trademark and copyright. But so I did that for a long time. I sold some short stories, and then I started working on longer stuff. I started freelancing, doing a lot of just, you know, blog stuff, writing whatever I could get paid to write, like PSAs that are out there somewhere if you wanted to watch you know, adolescent pregnancy prevention type stuff, the short films for director friends, and then yes, comics, video games. I worked in video games for a little bit. So I think that probably, you know, when it started coming together for me, and maybe when I started relaxing into it, I went to this goes along with the fandom question you were talking about earlier. I went to a writing workshop called the Clarion Writers Workshop, which is mainly for science fiction and fantasy prose writers. And we write a short story every week. We have these really, really cool authors come to teach us, like Kelly Link and Holly Black. And we spend 6 weeks there. And what really made me comfortable in this place of like, okay, I can just keep doing this and keep at it, is that I was not, you know, you asked like, were you like the head fan, you know, or the leader of our little group? What was so comforting for me was that I wasn't the funniest person in the room. I wasn't the only person with a shaved head. I think I was already shaving my head by then. I wasn't the tallest or shortest. I wasn't the most successful. I wasn't the least successful. I was like not right in the middle, but I was just like, I was normal, and I'd never really been exposed to that. Yeah, my biggest brush with fandom in person was probably musical theater, doing theater, and everyone is sort of like, some days you're the spotlight, and some days you're holding the spotlight on someone else. So it's a lot of stuff like, oop, I thought I turned that off. I apologize. Yeah, so it was around then that probably I was like, okay, I can sort of relax into this and think of, I don't do the whole thing where I was like, am I a writer? Am I not? I never really hemmed and hawed over that. It was more like, can I do this as my primary income, or maybe identity? I don't know. And that's the kind of journey that I've been on.
What about you, Tony? Man, when did the itch come and your first steps into, you know, making the things become a reality?
Well, like I said, when I was a kid, I always wanted to draw comics. I would draw them. You know, when I was really little, before I could read and write, I was making dinosaur comics, and I still have some of them. My mom kept them and stapled them together. And then, like when I was in high school, we'd make up our own characters. And then when I got out of high school, I graduated in '94. I spent I was in South Florida. I spent many years of self-destructive behavior, so to speak, as a young man. And I was bartending, working in nightclubs and bars and stuff all over South Florida. So, you know, I was kind of living it up a little bit. And then around 2005, I was like, I don't know what I want to do with the rest of my life. You know, I was like almost 30, like 27, 28 years old or something. And I was like, I don't want to be the 40-year-old bartender at the country club. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's an honorable job, but I just didn't want to be on my feet like that. And
Yeah.
It's like, what do I know how to do? The only thing I know how to do is draw. It's the only thing that ever came naturally to me that I enjoyed doing, that I could like actually like sit down and focus on, because I was the type of person, and like I still am, if I'm not really into something, my mind just like wants to do something else, and my body will follow and just go do something else. So drawing was something where I was able to sit down and focus, or I was like just into it for whatever reason. So I was working at this bar, this nightclub in Fort Lauderdale, and down the road was Fort Lauderdale Art Institute, and I was working with a bunch of kids who were going to school there, younger than me, and they were like, it was a happy hour one day, and it was dead. It was dead in the bar, and we were just sitting around, shooting the shit. And I was looking at one of the kids' sketchbooks, and I was like, damn. And I was thinking to myself, I didn't say this to them because that would be rude, but I was thinking, damn, I haven't drawn in like 15, 20 years, and I'm still better than these kids. Like, I should maybe think about drawing again, and see what I can do with that. So I started drawing again, and I caught the bug, and then I enrolled at the Art Institute and took some animation classes, and then entered the illustration program and did an indie comic with a buddy of mine that got picked up by an indie publisher, and went to San Diego Comic-Con with it. And then I moved to San Diego to follow my dreams, and that's how it kind of all started. And that was around like 2007.
Look at these guys making dreams happen. So now, before we talk about the book, another very important question: the story of the promance over here. How'd you guys meet?
I like that term, promance. That's funny. Never heard that before.
That's a good one. I reached out to Tony. I'd seen his work on, we just talked about this, so I should remember, Karma Police. Yes. And really thought he'd be a good fit for this type of story. Little did I know that he was a very good fit for this type of story. And I did not know that he had, drawn dinosaurs as a kid. Although I did kind of know that every artist's secret is like, let us draw more dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think readers should be asking for that too, because if you take a look at Tony's art, for example, like this is what happens when you let artists and encourage artists draw what they want to. Yeah, that was basically, I just reached out to him and said, sup, promance buddy.
He slid in my DMs around 2017.
I said you up.
You said like Drake and shit. Look at the guy. Hey buddy, you want to draw for me?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Mm.
I remember where I was at. I was actually doing my laundry at the laundromat when I first got the email from him, and just watching.
No. Say it slower.
I was watching my clothes dry. No, I was at the laundromat, and I was like just putzing around in my sketchbook, and I got the email from him. And
the way I would have done this story is all of a sudden I was in the laundromat watching clothes dry. There was buzz in my pants. It was my phone.
Like, is this a future promance calling me?
Awesome though. I think that's how did you feel about just receiving the message and getting offered the opportunity.
Say it again.
Yeah, how did you feel when he reached out and offered the opportunity? Like I was.
Oh yeah. That was great. I mean,
it was a joke. I mean, because it's not into your DMs. Did you immediately say, "Yeah, he's legit," or did you do some homework before replying?
I think we were following each other already.
I think
I
so.
believe.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. So like, I think that I already kind of was familiar with Alex as far as like just being a real person. Like he wasn't, catfishing or anything.
But for example. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, and I looked him up. I went on a saying. I always do that with everybody because people will reach out to you sometimes that you're not familiar with, and then you're like, okay, is this legit? And you kind of do your own sleuthing to be like, okay, is this person for real, or is it just
is this person toxic? Like, is this person a total jerk? And like, this is going to be a problem for me if I want to work with him, or much less like, has he done terrible things to friends of mine?
Yeah.
Wow, we have to look at all this stuff nowadays. But luckily, it's easy enough to look into it.
Really, we should have been paying attention to this this before the internet, you know, like, oh, I shouldn't be working with so many jerks or assholes or.
I mean, yeah, before the internet, it was hard to find out. You know, it was harder to find out who was what. You know.
Listen. I mean, they do them. It's just just not to hurt your own professionalism. You know, if you have good morals, you don't want to associate it. That stuff is fantastic. Good energy. You don't want to bad energies. They'll never connect. But like-minded energies do.
And that's the more positive way to think about it. We definitely want to have like a safety net where we're not finding the worst of the internet to collaborate with. But the ideal is that we're not even worried about that, because we're just thinking about who's the best fit for this book, for this team, for me as a creative person, and that's why we're lucky that this one worked out.
Alex reached out to me. He said, I got a stoner comic I want you to draw. And I was like, all right, well, he obviously knows who I am. So,
and I don't know that I did. Like, I don't know that I think that part was kind of coincidence. I just knew you could do science fiction stuff really well. I knew we've talked about this a lot is, with Gru, like the facial expressions, like to be able to emote characters that emote, because we all lived through the period of time when it was all like all characters are stoic, must look cool, everything. But to have the animated faces that are less realistic sometimes, but definitely just give you so much more storytelling. There's that, and then also the recognizing characters by their silhouettes. And I think that if you could reread any of the comics that Tony has done or that we've done together, is you'll see like all of these even side characters are just like really interesting designs. And if you did have a silhouette panel, you could probably figure out by their shape and by their posture who they are and what it says about them. And I think that is something that's really underrated. At least it has been over the last 20 years or so. And so seeing somebody doing something like that was very exciting to me, and made me think, okay, I think Tony could be a really good fit for me and for this book.
I do that out of laziness too, because sometimes you don't want to draw the character and you just want to drop them in a silhouette in the background. So it's like, well, let me make them easily definable. So when I feel like, not having to draw them totally, I can do that.
I love it. And folks, we've been teasing. So I got actually a Starweed teaser. All right, we got a little PowerPoint, show some more art off, and of course we got the Kickstarter. So check out the teaser before we continue. What?
That gets me hyped.
What? How sexy is that book?
That's very sexy. That's hot.
And let me put the little PowerPoint out real quick, and then we're gonna get into the whole Kickstarter too, because everybody got to see what's popping with this. Let me get the fellas there. Yep. So talk about these colors. Introduce me to the world, please, fellas, of Starweed, which is currently live with Kickstarter, folks. Link is below. Let me add it right now as the fellas talk about it.
If you go to starweed.com, if you don't want to type all that out too, it should point to it. Even after this Kickstarter is over, it should point to wherever you can get it.
You know what I mean? I'll change it as you guys can talk about it. Go ahead.
That's nice of you. Thank you. But please don't worry about it. Colors. Yes. Tony, tell us about Claudia's colors.
Yes. Claudia Aguirre. She's one of my closest friends in comics. We worked together on a book called Deuce of Hearts for Vault Comics around the time that Alex reached out to me. So when Alex, approached me about the book, we spoke about colorists. I showed him some of Claudia's work, and he was all about it because she's obviously super talented. And I asked her if she wanted to jump on board, and she did. So, and she caught the vibe immediately. I love like the tie-dye aesthetic of the whole book. Really, it's kind of trippy.
It's wild, it's chaotic, but without it being, just chaos. It feels grounded where it needs to be grounded. It doesn't interfere with the storytelling as far as like, sometimes when you go too wild with colors or with anything, you're like, I don't know what's happening panel to panel. Just tell me what's going on. But she just does a fantastic job of keeping things grounded and chaotic at the same time.
So who are the characters on this cover?
Well, this cover is from a sequence in the book that may or may not be real.
May or may not be induced by the actual use of Starweed.
Yeah. So like the one Diggs, the character with the sword, she's the lead of the book.
Okay.
And these other characters, one of them is in the book, but he's not really a wizard. And the other ones might be some sort of like manifestations from imbibing Starweed.
Yeah. Oh man. And
so we have Fat Elvis. You got Chupacabra. You have an alien smoking a joint. You have a Lady in the Tramp, a dog,
that's who that was. Yep. Kind of. Yep. Too fucking funny.
And up to this point, Diggs has been kind of a control freak, and she doesn't partake in the use of Starweed. She just steals the corpses. And since you've read issue 1, she's got some reasons to be mad at some people. So the final issue, by this point, she is very, very mad at some people, and we've seen her kick butt like all over the solar system. And now there's circumstances that arise that have her need to eat some edibles in order to not starve to death. And so now we've actually get to see her kick butt on Starweed under the influence. And it's a fun payoff for all this high strungness that she's been subjected to, or that she subjects herself to up until this point.
Gotcha. And talk about this page right here. Look at this. Folks, I want people to look at artwork. Again, this is a Kickstarter that's live right now. I'm going to show you the Kickstarter, but I'm showing you some stuff as well. It's just some sec. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Look at this lettering. Look at these colors. I mean, who's the letterist? I mean, what an effect on this page.
Tony, I think you did those letters.
Damn, Tony, you got skill like that too, brother. Where?
Hey. I like doing hand-drawn sound effects when I'm able to. Yeah. For indie books especially, because I work, like right now I'm working on Rick and Morty, and there's a letter I work with Crank, who's a great letterer, and they do all the sound effects for the book, so I don't really have to worry about that. But like on a book like this, where I'm kind of get a little more free reign, I like to do the sound effects myself. But the letterer on the book is Lauren Norby, and he does a fantastic job with all the tasks that he was set to handle throughout the book.
I see your love for dinosaurs fully displayed, Great job, too. Homie, you look dope.
Yeah, dinos are fun to draw, man. I don't put feathers on them. I probably should, but I just can't bring myself to do it.
I remember talking about that. It's like, so what we learned about dinosaurs in the last few years, do we make these like the birds, or do we do the traditional? And we are from I can't remember if it's the exact same generation, but it's pretty close. But we grew up loving just this type of dinosaur, and probably both went through those phases, regardless of whether we.
Y'all got to tell a story.
Yeah.
Like what Godzilla on Dinosaur Island, not Monster Island, but Dinosaur Island. They're not gonna respect Godzilla. They're mindless, right? Imagine. Have a whole island of a whole bunch of different T-Rexes, Brontosauruses, Triceratops, and all that. You think Godzilla can survive that battle? An island full of dinosaurs?
I think so, because I think he's much bigger than them, and also he can breathe nuclear fire. So I think.
What's the biggest dinosaur in comparison to Godzilla?
It would be a herbivore, right? And there would be some sort of herbivore. Or unless, like, if you're talking about like aquatic dinosaurs, there's probably some that are much larger. But then, like, I guess, and that would be a problem for him because he lives in the water a lot. So I think
all right. So on land, we're done. In the sea, he's fucked.
Maybe. I think it would be tougher for him in the sea. There would be like some hard 1v1s in the sea.
Godzilla versus dinosaurs, folks. Tell us who would win.
But on the land, I think on the land, once he got into land, I think he would dominate the land.
All right,
I don't think there's any land dinosaur that would stand with him.
Done. All right, but I like this. Yeah,
that's an important question. You need to answer these questions.
We'll
circle back after we're all high. And, I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of it.
I'm already there, so I'm telling you. So I'm having these like this beautiful art. I'm getting inspired.
Are you high? Are you high now? That's amazing. Like your energy, it puts me to sleep.
Folks, I mean, look at this right here too. Look at his artistry. Look at the colors, the way it pops, and then the storytelling. It's really eye candy, though. Very well done on this page, bro. I mean, Alex, how much part did you have in kind of like in direction of this page at all, or is this all art?
This one is one that we've been talking about since we started the book. Like it's building up to something I call the mural, and I think I apologize to Tony in the script. Like, I don't know if this is going to work, but let's give it a shot, etc. And I think that it's something that we've talked about on and off. Like, are we leading to this? Can we pay this off with this thing? And this is at the height of the intoxicated climax of the book. So don't look too carefully. I don't think it spoils anything, but the idea is there's a fight, and instead of showing the fight traditionally, we see kind of a hallucinogenic version of the fight. So here they're Lady and the Tramp. Here they're dancers, like fighting on a dance floor. Here they're cat and mouse chasing each other. Here Diggs is opening a can that is the person she's fighting, and he's like screaming in pain as his liquid is going out the top of his beer can. Or it's just this wild thing that we weren't sure it was going to work, but we're like, hey, let's try it. And it ended up being like just such a fun page.
Yeah, that was I don't remember what it said in the script. I just remember drawing it.
Nuts on it. You're like, all right, sounds good.
It was a lot of things like, what about wizards? What about this? What about that? You know, and then like I would probably return to the script a few months later, and I just seen some movie. I was like, what about this?
Where are these conversations being had? Is this strictly email? Is this text? Are you doing like voice messaging on the phone? I mean, how are you communicating at this point?
We had a few phone calls, but it was mostly over email. Okay. Yeah.
You guys don't use the voice messaging. I love that now. I stopped texting. I'm not gonna text you no more. I'm sending you a voice message. Blah, 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 blah. Here you go.
I don't think anyone sends me voice message. I maybe have gotten one voice message from somebody, and that was like an Instagram DM or
you ever text me, that's all you get.
I mean, I call my mom. That's pretty much
so you're gonna hear my voice. I'm gonna give you my time, not just thumb it away. I'm gonna give you my life energy.
I like that. That's a nice way to go about it.
I prefer phone calls anyway. So if like I have something to discuss with like somebody, like I think Alex. Huh?
I say it in the message. Hey, you know, if it's important, just give me a holler. Now I hope you're well. Blah 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 blah. That's it. I answered your question, whatever your text was.
I don't like having my voice on record. You know, I would like to have it. I want to say it and then have it go off into the ether, and then no one can ever bring it back to hold it against me.
Hey, well, I mean, my voice isn't that sexy. I doubt there's gonna be AI megas out there. You know, if I sound like the movie guy, that would be different. You know what I mean?
I'm really bad at the time zones. I can, for some reason, my brain just like sometimes will shift 2 hours in the wrong direction. So I find it very helpful to do emails versus phone calls, because I don't want to be, you know, calling or texting Tony 4 hours earlier and go, where the hell are you? We said we'd be here at 2:00. You're like, dude, like count the
I've done that before. I've done that before on podcasts where I'm like, I'm supposed to be here at noon. I was like, no, it was noon, like on the Pacific coast, and I'm like, oh shit.
But also, I'm an early riser, so if we do the phone calls, I'll be like, I want to email you, or I want to call you at 6 a.m. my time, which is 4 a.m. you.
Yeah,
you know, we don't
want to work both right now based on time. My day job, I actually work UK hours on the East Coast, so think about that. I'm basically, you know, starting at 3 a.m. in the morning Shifts.
My-
I'm
my
doing, like the army talks shit about waking at 4 a.m. I'm waking up at 3, brothers. I'm doing more than you guys, I think, right now. Shit.
Well, my last salary position was for a Denver company, a video game company, and their core hours were 10 to 4 their time, which means my day didn't officially have to start until noon. Now, I still had a lot of work to do during that time, but it was like a superpower. You could start your day, like I could get my own writing done, I could get other things done, I could do chores, I could do doctor's appointments, whatever I needed to do until around noon, and then my day kind of started, which was kind of neat.
Yeah, I start my day whenever I wake up.
I give myself 24-hour days on Fridays. That's my 24-hour day. I don't go back to sleep until I have my fun. I gotta get out.
Wow.
You know what I mean? After this fun podcast, we're talking about this dope comic again. Look at this artistry, and talk about the concept of Starweed again. It's like who came up with this craziness of imagine smoking a celebrity. What craziness is this, yo? I mean, when I kind of read this concept initially, I was like, and I as I read in the book, like, yo, this shit is fucking wild. And in the artistry, you kind of see people having these imaginations, like, is that supposed to be high, or they think they feeling that way? I'm like, y'all fucking with me right now. Like, I love how the story goes. Like, is the drug really that good? Is it not? You know what I mean?
I mean, dude,
I'm about to get some fucking Starweed.
I smoked DMT one time, and I talked to aliens, or so I thought, but I could have just been in my own head.
It was just Alex in the fucking costume. Fucking
yeah,
that's right. I got his pin code. I got.
I can tell you.
I recorded his voice like he does, because he never lets me do that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember if the title or the concept came first. I'm a title guy, so kind of titles really do crystallize things for me.
So why Starweed? What the hell were you on that day?
I don't remember where it first came from. The idea for this, like where this story came from, was I had a short story about a woman escaping from a space prison. And I kind of wanted to do more with that short story, but that character didn't really work for a longer piece. That character was kind of a sadist, and that was really all there was to that character. So I just created a new character, and then the questions were, why is she in space jail? What is how did she get caught? If it was because of her incompetence, that's interesting. If she's really, really good at her job, but she was still caught, that's also interesting. So all those different questions were the things I was at. What would I like to draw? Or sorry, what would an artist like to draw? And for some reason, dinosaurs came up. So those are the kind of things that I was needed to figure out. And I don't remember exactly where that idea came from, but around that time I think I had a separate idea for smoking the remains of celebrities. Maybe it was just a song title or something like that, and that's kind of, and I had bought the domain name around that time, thinking, I'll do something with this at some point.
Now I'm gonna ask a more inquisitive question here. Smoking celebrities, from the time, do you remember maybe the circa that maybe one of your favorite musicians died around that time and you wanted to smoke them?
No, not me. However, something that along with what you're saying, something that I didn't realize, because I didn't have a huge background in cannabis until I talked to Tony and talked with readers, is that this is an idea that sort of has surfaced every once in a while. So like in Cheech and Chong, there's a vague reference to it. Tony, you brought up Keith Richards, I think. What was his story?
When his father died, I don't know if he smoked or snorted some of his father's ashes. So that was the thing.
And it's like there's a Tupac song, or his friends like talked about wanting to smoke his ashes, or maybe they did, assuming he died. We don't know. So it surfaces every few years, this idea, and I just wasn't aware of it. And while I don't know that any of those concepts would have been more influential had we had we known about that before putting pen to paper, it is interesting that this is an idea that kind of is there. On a previous interview, I accidentally said cannibal instead of cannabis, and I realized, oh, that's actually something that we might have played with, but it never occurred to me. But from that concept idea, like, oh, this is just, I needed something that she was in jail for, to like, oh, this is really interesting. We can explore so many different aspects of celebrity culture, of cannabis culture, of the way fame works, the way we want to be close to fame somehow. Like, I'm going to get the Michael Jordan shoes. Like, what does it do for me to have that, other than, do I feel closer to that celebrity? That it's just some really interesting ideas that we can start to explore. And we did a lot of that in 3 issues, but there's probably still so much we could do.
Well, awesome. And let me get the Kickstarter out, because look at that cover. I mean, you can support the Kickstarter now. You know where it's at. It's live. It's live right now. Guess what? They needed a pledge of guess what number? Can you guess?
It was a total random number. I don't know what we were talking about.
420, was the goal. And these guys are murdering it right now with $2,308. So first and foremost, I just want to salute, the 84 backers supporting independent projects like this. Now, folks, we got 15 days to go. So that means that for those who don't get paid this Friday, y'all getting paid the next or the other. So there is no excuse. Now listen, trust me on this one. Don't miss out on that 8th. Get this, and it is related. So it does. Trust me, guys, you're gonna fucking love it. Because then when you get this book, you're gonna have a brand new 8th that you're gonna be puffing, and when you read this, you're gonna be like, it's gonna become your favorite book, and these 2 guys right here are about to become the Cheech and Chong of comics, your favorite creative duo. I'm telling you right fucking now, like, this is madness. Space weed madness. Starweeds. I mean, the shit that they got going on here is just wild. The concept, and it's beautiful. It's a great book. Look, complete series you can get over here, and let's talk about it, folks. Easy peasy. You can start supporting $1. That's it. You really can't buy shit for $1 nowadays. You know what you can buy? Support, love. You know what I mean? Give them $1. Other than that, like, if you want to start getting in there, you can get a digital copy for you to read on your favorite little digital device. Right there, $4 with issue number 3. I think you want more than that, though, folks. You don't want just issue number 3. Who wants just issue number 3? Why would you tease yourself that way? You need 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
so
you gotta get the whole thing
for $12 right here, and look at that. I love the term they use right here, DRM free. They're not saying, hey, well, if this disappears, your shit gets deleted. No, this is your copy. This is your digital copy. Don't share it. Don't be an asshole. But this is for you. You know what I mean? It is yours. Enjoy it. Maybe when somebody comes over, hey, check out these few pages, share it, and then stop. Give them a tease, like they're at a strip club, Like my local strip club, Mario's over here, just tease. But if anything, now you want print, you want number 3, you want some stickers, all right? Other 18 beans, right? You want some variants by Daniel Irizarry, right? I mean, and look at that madness.
He's great.
Oh man. Holy shit. I see what's going on there and I fucking love it. $24. That shit is fire. I mean, wait a minute. You also get a sticker pack. New designs by E.J. Hahn and Sarah Stern. It's bagged and boarded in a fancy comic. It's fancy, folks. I mean, what is it velvet? Does it smell like fucking lavender? Like, what we got here?
It's a dedicated comic book mailer. I mean, they make these specifically for comics. They're not making them for, I'm not going to take an Amazon box and just, repurpose it and mark it out. This is something that's going to custom fit these comics. And that's what we mail them in to make sure that they're preserved.
It won't get bent by the USPS, UPS. And if they do, then you have the right to probably do things that I'm not allowed to tell you to do. So
Now, if you do order a T-shirt, I probably will use a repurposed Amazon box because the environment's important, and I'm not going to get a huge box,
look at
just for you.
Listen, who said that we heads don't care about the environment? All right, so
Not me.
you get Starweed complete 1, 2, and 3 complete. Listen to this. This is 116 pages, including covers and interiors, right? 100 pages of sequentials. You hear this, folks? Most graphic novels nowadays, not even that graphic, they don't even reach 100 pages. Cost $50 nowadays, to be honest. Like I've seen it. I see those price points.
It sucks the comics are so expensive to make, yeah. But
yeah, uber fair, uber wonderful. Imagine getting this, an issue format. Yo, why not? Yo, get it done. And there goes that infamous T-shirt, that Starweed. I'm loving that tie-dye. Holy shit, bro.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do a tie-dye since the first one, and we finally found a printer who will do it. So.
Oh, I mean, you call Jerry Garcia, like, Jerry, did you want to smoke Jerry? Is that what happened? It was just smoke Jerry Garcia and shit. Don't strain yourself. I like that story. What the hell is this? The heist experience. 100. What are we talking about here?
So you play role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons. So there's a game called Fiasco, which is a DM-less game. So you don't have to have one person running the thing. Everybody kind of contributes this storytelling game. You sit around in a circle and you do this. So we created a
how? Explain a little bit of the game. I don't do these things, but because I like things a little bit more interactive with everybody involved. Like, so you already got me hooked. Like, everybody is kind of dungeon master, DM.
Yeah. And we all sort of contribute the stories. Like, I might say, yeah, we're in a nightclub, and someone else is like, you know what? It's a space nightclub, motherfucker, because it's a
so we just keep elevating that whole shit.
Yeah, exactly. You sort of you put it together, and in a game like this, they say it's like the best descriptor that I love of this game, Fiasco, is that it's like creating a Coen Brothers movie in your mind. So basically, things go wrong with a crime of some sort often, but there's different play sets for various themes, and in this one is a Starweed theme. And some friends of mine from Deck 9, which is the last video game company I worked with, these two people on the narrative teams over there helped me out making this Fiasco play set, which were only a few backers away from having as a free stretch goal or stretch reward. So you're enabling this thing to happen if you just back this thing for even $1. But if you wanted to play with us over Zoom, we will dedicate time to actually play with you at that reward level. But everyone will get this play set for free if you played Fiasco. If you want to play that with your friends, if you want to play with us, it's just a little bit more than that. So
that's it. And then the Starweed universe smokes you. So you're not trying to kill me, are you?
It depends. Like, what did you do to us?
What's going on here? This sounds crazy right here.
Yeah, if you want your name on a crate, we have some crates with your potential name on it, or a name that you give us within reason. Do not make us regret this,
man. I need to partner up with a paper company, or even buy like generic cigars that you could even give out. And like paper is used to. I'm just saying, oh man, the marketing potential here.
Oh yeah, if you would like to try smoking this book, just buy two. Just buy two. It is not. I do not recommend it. But if you want to try it, we are not going to stop you. We will.
Let me tell you, if you would have made the comic book and hemp paper, listen. Not only can you read the book, you can roll in it. You know what I mean? Like shit.
And it'll make the ones that aren't smoked worth even more, right?
Exactly. They're going to reduce the ones around. Like, oh shit, smokable comics, crazy. The inventors of smokable comics, folks, are right here. Talk about Starweed. Holy shit. Now, Tony, man, our commission for 300, fire.
Yep. I think we're talking about doing sketch covers.
Yeah, we might replace that with some sketch covers because that price point is expensive, and we want people to be able to have the opportunity. So yeah, that might change soon. If somebody backs it right now, we'll probably leave it. But if you, we might do a sketch cover instead.
Oh man, yeah, everybody better hurry up and not Alex will join your VR squad.
So every single time we do some ridiculous thing at the 420 price level, and every once in a while somebody takes you up on it. And we're like, okay, this is going to be wild. This will be fun. This time, yeah, I will join your battle royale Fortnite team
really?
for like a season if you want me to. We will, we'll shoot the shit and kill some other players, or they will kill us, whatever, for a season or so. So yeah, so this, if you want to try something like that, let's go for it. Or if you just love, if you got the cash to burn and you would love to say you pledged 420 for a comic book, we will take that money and hopefully provide you with something.
And they won't smoke it, folks. They're not going to smoke your money. They're gonna make and produce this wonderful book. I know it's weed related. I mean, I just want to clarify. I'm talking weed, Starweed. Smoking people. You being on smokable boxes. No, we're not gonna smoke you. Right. And I know for the streets, no, we ain't gonna smoke you, son. Ain't none of that either. You know what I mean? We mean they're gonna do some wonderful art, but then with this BR Squad stuff. I mean, they got beautiful stuff. They got art. They got books. They got crates. They got tie-dye shirts. They got, print sets. I mean, these guys are monsters right now.
And you might be interested in some of the add-ons. We have some T-shirts left over from the previous Kickstarters, just a few in a few different sizes, including a legalized Starweed shirt and one that says recreational comic book user. Which
I gotta see that one.
So if you scroll down to the rewards,
I'm going. I mean, look at you guys. You guys are so generous and showing all the beautiful art to the book, right? There it is. Look at Tony. So we had a supermodel model for us, obviously. I need one of these in my fucking life. Listen, my mother always used to see my eyes like this, like, what's wrong with you? I'm just tired, Ma. And and then you get the infamous.
So that design is by Rico Renzi's, co-creator of Gwenpool. Sorry, is it Gwenpool? No, Spider-Gwen, who did that design. So yeah, he did this awesome design for us. And so we also probably still have some stickers left. We'll make those available as add-ons as well.
I'm not gonna
sorry, go ahead.
I'm not gonna front. When I see that, recreation comic book user, but I don't think that there's anything better in life when you could wake up in the morning, get your cup of coffee, get your comics, roll an L, smoke half of it, and start reading in the morning. Oh my effing God, the way you could dive into these universes. This particular book, I will finish tomorrow morning on purpose to do these exact things, to really be fully immersed, because you guys teased me. I mean, these guys, this is what they did. Again, they gave me 1 and 2, but they ain't give me no finale. They're like, Al, you ain't gonna talk shit about that finale. I don't trust you as a weird. But they should. I'm not a spoiler. I don't do those things.
I didn't say that. I just wanted you to know I did not say that. We
But
love all of our Weedhead readers.
Hey, look at even Kitty says, yeah, pause. You got to get the shirt. You know what I mean? What's Kitty's name right there?
That is Jupiter, so named by the kid who raised Jupiter, and they needed to rehome Jupiter, and he now lives with us, and he's an adorable cat.
Okay. Hey, who's this team member right here?
That's Claudia.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
That's Lauren, the letter.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And then we got the rewards right there. Digitals. Ooh, complete series. There we go. Stickers.
We also have a gift option if you want me to send somebody that is a weedhead or would be into this on Christmas Day or their birthday or something like that. We can even time the email to them. So
thank you. Listen, it's not just Thanksgiving Halloween is coming. For aficionados, this is a fun book.
Valentine's Day, huh?
But
what better way to tell someone you love them or to break up with them? Come on.
April 20th. I mean, what better way to celebrate 420 than by reading Starweed?
Look at that. So we have Thanksgiving right now coming up, as a thank you gift. Thank you for welcoming me to your home to eat food. Here's a weed comic book.
That's right.
For Christmas, a stocking stuffer, because the holidays are coming. Listen, we're already in September, and we're reaching October. Jesus, the holidays are approaching us real quick. So
and I do hope to be able to have these in the mail.
I'm gonna pitch all your projects as stocking stuffers. This is the perfect thing for fans. You know what I mean?
Thank you. That's
so,
awesome.
as a gift, like even though this says what is the estimated delivery for the finished book?
We do. I really do hope to be able to ship them early December.
There we go.
That is my goal. I'm confident that I can get the digital out by the end of November. Early December. Yeah, the book is finished. The only things that we kind of really need to do is finish up the back matter and put the names on crates before sending them to the printer. And it's just a matter of if sometimes there's an issue with. I've had this in the past where you send it to the printer and you get it back. And you're like, no, I really wanted this to.
Really? All right. Let me ask you about that. As creators, like how like percentage wise, like. What's kind of that number, if you will, when you kind of face those type of difficulties that are just outside of your control?
What do you mean, like a cost?
Well, like that when it comes to like a printer, like you get your project, they send you the print back, you're like, oh my god, you just fucked up out the ass right now.
They usually send you a proof.
First. Yeah, ideally.
So how much time do you have to correct though? Like, does it affect the schedule?
It can.
Happens.
The issue is that a lot of printers will do a digital proof sometimes, and like you're very tempted to like, oh, we could get this so much faster if we just do the digital proof, and you don't do a printed proof. And there are sometimes a printed proof is printed with, say, a different technique than the final version. You're like, wow, these colors are really dull in the final. So it's not a perfect system. So if you did say get like a big an expensive order and it was wrong and it was not anyone's fault, and you're like, do I spend another $100, another $500 to fix this? And most creators aren't in a position to correct that. So, but in those of us who are, for most of my life, I would not be in that position. Like right now, there's a calculus that I would do is like, okay, how bad is that, and is it something that I would be willing to risk more money on or lose money on in order to make sure that my readers get a quality product? And oftentimes the answer is yes. I want them to be happy with the thing. I don't want to send them crap just to say that I did it. So you're always making those kind of calculations when something goes wrong, whether it's a time thing. Like they said, I told them I would have it by December 5th, and it's now December 15th, and I feel really bad. But you don't want to send them crap just because you want to be able to say you did it. Of
course. Quality is important, and taking care of your customers and making sure they receive the product that you promised them is actually very important. So I appreciate that, but. And again, I just want to mention that because again, with the holidays coming, if we can deliver by December, that's the perfect stocking stuff for Starweed, folks. For if you have a fun-loving weedhead comic book fan in your life, either a comic book fan or a weedhead, or happens to be both, and most of the time they are. This is a great gift. I've read the first two issues, the first issue and a half thus far. Let me tell you, it's put a smile on my face, made me chuckle. Situations that I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. And then especially after I smoked, I'll be honest, I smoked and I read this shit. So it's like the perfect compliment. This is like drinking a red wine, reading this book, smoking, and then this comic book is the red wine. It's just compliments. You know what I mean? For real, yo. You guys did a fucking kick-ass job, and I'm excited for people. Again, it's already funded. But folks, we still got 15 days to go. So please, very important. You gotta support independent comics, man. Support creators like my man's right here. Like, yo, this book is, again, like I said, it's funny. It's now. It's different. It's not that norm superhero stuff. Like, I'm not hating on superhero shit. I love it, but you gotta get away from that sometimes. It just kind of has these different fucking wild stories that really challenge the imagination. Especially as we have, you smoking people, like, can you imagine? Like, I don't know, hey, whatever.
If Starweed was real, who'd you smoke, Al?
Wow.
It's a long
I'm
pause.
a fan. You know, I could go. I could go religious. I could go. You know what though? Okay, I want to do it my way then, because you know, freedom revolutionary, if you will, and trying to unite people and unite countries. I want to smoke a fellow who's a Puerto Rican activists that try to push for just Puerto Ricans to understand our place, and like we could do something more. But again, I'll say that he was a what was it, a valedictorian when he graduated in his college, and it was a college at the time where in the 30s where brown people shouldn't have been a valedictorian, and because he was brown and he outsmarted everybody, they told him not to attend his graduation, that they would mail him his degree because they couldn't let a brown person, like receive that valedictorian award. So I'm talking about the Puerto Rican actor Pedro Albizu Campos, because he was going to do the Latino Union one day, where it was going to unite the Central American, South American, and Caribbean, and even include Spain, to create some, a different power as well. Not just what NATO and everything else, BRICS, for example, but do a Latin one. But unfortunately, call it conspiracy theories, whatever you want, but there was things done against him that prevented him from doing the things that he wanted to do, and unfortunately ended his life. So if I just wanted to be able to use his ideas, and keep them, going forward, I would love to be able to smoke him, if that could help me understand his ideas further, to produce them further. Yeah.
Don't let the CIA know, because they'll come for you next.
Yeah, I know. They're already going after a whole bunch of people apparently and doing things and shit. Isn't it crazy? I mean, again, it get political. I don't want to get. That's a different podcast for me that I'm dying to do. Is to really get into these type of conversations, just a deep dive on just history. Again, even in comics, right? There's manipulation in comics. To be honest, I mean, things happen, and there's things that I could see over time that I think that fingers have been in that it's kind of curious that you could challenge. Just an idea. It's like, that's why is that there? Type shit. But whatever. It's what it is. This is the community nowadays. It's fucking wild, but I love it anyway. I dig it. I just love all my people. All we gotta do is support one another. It takes a village to support, amazing creators like this. We have to support one another, be there for one another. And if we have disagreements, hey, it's fine. Have all the disagreements you want in the world, but don't hate one another. Don't try to hurt one another. Love one another, because it's just enough hate in the world, man. I mean, wouldn't you agree? I mean, see, that's where that Starweed comes into play right here, baby. It's like it's the love, baby. This is all we need in the world right now. There's enough of that, and I love how you created this is such a fun book with the wild concept of future slice of life, but not really. But again, dealing with real issues, but it's fun. And like, thank you. We need more creators like you that just want to do shit that's just gonna put a smile on my face and not make me think of fucking what's going on in the world, like me getting bombed or aliens coming tomorrow or a comet or me getting a second moon on the 25th. You know what I mean? What's going on here? You heard we getting a second moon on the 25th, right?
That does sound familiar. Yeah. It'll be a temporary moon.
Yeah, like
what like an asteroid or something. Yeah.
I can't let it take pictures of this thing if I could.
That's pretty cool.
I hope our other moon, our original moon, doesn't get jealous and do a moon.
They'll have a promance together.
Could you imagine? Oh no, that's not a promance. That'll be a slip match. All of a sudden, you're gonna see hands come out like unicorn and slap that asteroid. Get out of here, bitch! Is mine.
A moon man.
It's a moon man.
Moon man's. Yeah. What is that Van Morrison song? Very cool. Yeah, Cannabis Comics and the Comic Crusader bringing people together. I love it.
Let's do it, baby. Let's do it. So that's what I want to ask before we go. My two final questions: are you guys making any appearances at any conventions for the rest of the year where people can maybe hang out with you, say hello, say what up, walk in anywhere, even maybe visiting a con? What's going on, Alex?
No, I'm going to be focused on fulfillment of this Kickstarter. That's my main goal, and when it comes to comics.
What are you, Tom?
Well, I just got back from Portland. I was at Rose City Comic Con for a week, and the rest of the year probably not. No, I'm not. I just got home and I'm just getting back to work. I'm working on Rick and Morty right now, so I'm just kind of like,
here we go.
on a deadline, so I'm not really leaving my house till that's done.
Oh my God! A big salute to my people over at Adult Swim. Let me tell you, they hooked me up, man. I was so happy to receive it. My brother actually visiting me, and he was, I just opened the package, and he's like, "Oh, I want it." I'm like, yo, who the hell are you?
Oh shit! There you go.
Complete. Uncensored. Oh snap! You know what I mean? So yeah,
I've been rewatching season 7 because I'm drawing this New Year's Eve special. I have a book that's out right now. It's Rick and Morty Youth and Rick Vault. It's a series that I'm drawing, written by Mike Morisi. Issue 2 came out yesterday, or no, Wednesday.
Man, killing this shit, killing it.
Yeah, Odie's killing it. I love working with them. They're great people. And then I wrapped up art on that series, and now I'm doing a New Year's Eve special that is obviously has to come out by New Year's Eve. So I'm like full steam ahead working on that, and I'm going to be doing that till that's done. Probably in like November, and then and then the holidays come. I'm not leaving my house or my neighborhood until after the holidays. And maybe next year I might do Emerald City, I might do Heroes Con, and I might do Northeast Con, either Baltimore or New York. Depending.
Yeah, do New York, man. I'm doing New York this year. That's what I was asking. So I was hoping to.
Yeah, New York is last time I did New York once. I did not table, but I had like a pro badge, and that I'll never do that again, just because I was so exhausted after one day of like walking around the city and then kind of walking around the show. And by the end of the day, my feet hurt and I was tired. And I was like, if I have a booth, perfect, because I can just sit in one spot and I don't have to go nowhere,
Oh, bro, I do the press thing. I hardly sleep that weekend. Like, there's only a couple of weekends where I don't sleep, and that's one of them where. It's the show, it's after parties, it's networking, meeting. Again, I do this for you guys. I want to make sure that I could get all the voices out there that I can, that are doing things that are just different, that are fun. Comic Crusaders is here to crusade for the independent journey, and folks like yourselves that are just really changing the game, bringing something different, bringing something fun, keeping comics genuine. And we don't need to always be preached to, you know what I mean? Sometimes, folks, we just want to have fun.
Yeah, I like both. Sometimes I like
girls just want to have fun. No. I think everybody wants to have fucking fun.
Yeah. I think there's room for everything. You can have your serious comics that touch on serious subjects, and you can have your fun comics that are just fun, and then you can have fun comics that touch on serious subjects.
And this one touches on a whole bunch of stuff. You're like, holy shit! Like, what do I thought? This is the comic that deserves rereading, because you could go on different levels on how these thoughts are going. Like Alex's mind on his writing, he's a boss. I see where he's going. I mean, do you partake in the herbal refreshments to kind of like go on the lane that you do, or you just imagining how this is, and then Tony agrees, like, yeah, that's how it would go?
I do not regularly use cannabis. I have.
I call them herbal refreshments. That way it doesn't sound so dirty.
Sure. Okay. You said it dirty. I didn't think it's dirty. I love my fans. I really like herbal refreshments to help me sleep. It's a nice perk of like working out in Colorado or working in Canada when I would travel for work, for writing or for acting. But
get YouTube mad real quick.
But
I love to get YouTube mad. And why not? They want to get people mad. But let me tell you, look at this wonderful. Woo. Yeah.
There you go.
You have no idea how this smells either. And look at.
I have no idea.
You know what's funny? Think about that Starweed. Doesn't it look like a spaceship? It's flying.
Those are the designs for the follow-up series. Yeah.
What I mean?
Saga did a tree, right? As a spaceship tree. We can do that. Sure.
Imagine that. Spaceships that are made out of weed nuggets. Nice. And then the aliens come here. We come in peace, and that's why we say peace, because we actually smoke them.
In space, no one can smell your weed, right?
Concept. There we go. We're building universes here. All right, with these fucking guys right now. These guys are awesome. So, okay, last question here before we go. I know I said it's supposed to be a little bit shorter, but it's like I like your energy. This is the last question, honestly. So when it comes to advice, I mean, you guys got together, you're having fun, you're building something that's fire, at least in my opinion. You know, Comic Crusaders true for real. I'll start with Tony here. It's like, what type of advice would you give to somebody like in your example where somebody just reaches out randomly? So like, yo, I have an idea. Like, what advice would you give to somebody in regard to approach, like in answering that?
As far as like making comics, or
You know, and like back to somebody like that, like, yo, hey, I have a project, like, you know, and like, you know, how do you get back in a professional way? Because some people may be too excited. I don't know how you felt, but how would you, like, you know, advise somebody to respond to somebody actually offering you an opportunity?
Well, I would say if you're going to reach out to an artist to like work with them, make sure that like you're willing to pay them, because time is money and it's valuable. So, you know, especially cold, don't approach somebody cold and be like, hey, you want to, it's your lucky day, I want you to draw my comic. because generally speaking, like, you know, most artists, if they're like, well, I could just do my own book, then like, why would I want to draw yours? Like, what makes your idea so much better than the ideas I have? You know, if it's your idea, then maybe you should draw it then, you know, unless you're like Alex approached me, he's like, hey, I have this project, oh, and what's your rate? You know, because like your time is important. And that's a respectful way to do it. And you know, and if you're an up and comer, if you're just starting out, as an artist, I would suggest don't think that you're going to make a living right away. So like I worked for years, I don't know, I won't call it pro bono, but basically just for the page to crank out pages. So I work with writers who are at my level of like where we are in our career, and kind of built relationships and worked on pages and books and pitches that there wasn't necessarily any money involved, because I knew them and I wanted to work with them just to get my chops up, you know. So, but it was also because those are writers that I knew who were friends of mine who I chose to collaborate on as, like, you know, as partners. But if you're like, yeah, if you're approaching a stranger, I would suggest that you make sure you can be able to pay them some money. Otherwise, like, you know, why would they do it?
What about you, Alex, man? When you want to talk about, I mean, in that regard, you're a writer, you have this wonderful idea, you're looking for artists. Like, what type of advice would you give a writer, you know, in looking to approach? Would you agree with Tony's assessment, or at least when it comes to approach, how would you handle it, or tell somebody to handle?
Yeah, I think that it's really important to recognize that you're not doing somebody a favor by giving them work if you're not either going to pay or you have some other thing to offer. Because as somebody who's been freelancing for a long time, what you have is an opportunity cost to everything. So if Tony's going to spend months working with me on something, that's not like a gift for him. Those are times that he can't be working on something else. So the way to look at it as a potential collaborator might be, especially with reaching out to a stranger, would be something along the lines of, I'm asking you to take this risk with me. The risk that you're making is you're spending tons and tons of your time and energy and that stuff time that you could be spending on your own work or on some other paid work. So how do I offset the risk? So one of the ways you do that is by offering a page rate, and it's very, very helpful to ask what their page rate is, not to just be like, I can afford $20 a page, which which, you know, to you might feel like a lot of money. And it, you know, there is a period in my life where it's like, this is all I could possibly offer, but understand that might be insulting to somebody. And at that point, even if that person's a friend, you might be better off talking favors when you're approaching a friend than offering them $20 a page. But I think the important thing is to recognize that it's that this is a business, that people need to make a living. The conversation between art and culture really is unfortunate that we are where we are in the world. I mean, IDW just made some announcements about page rates, which were really unfortunate for creative teams. And AI is, of course, screwing everybody over right now. So I think just going with that mindset of understanding that that your creative collaborators are people, and they are making a lot of choices when they are considering working with you. So be as respectful as possible and listen more than talk.
I think that like a lot of people think too, like art is like an infinite well. So like if
Mhm.
somebody's an artist, they can just like, hey, can you draw this? Can you draw that? Can you draw this? Can you draw that? Oh, redo this, redo that, and eventually like that there is like a limit of
Oh, of
like,
course there is.
you know, to where it's like you're just dry. You're just like, I have no more energy for this, or I have no more
Yeah.
time for this, or ideas for this, or you kind of, you know. And I've worked with Alex was not one of them. Alex has been a wonderful collaborator. But I've worked with people who have been like kind of they don't get the fact that like you're asking me to redraw this or you're asking me all this stuff, and it's like there's a limit to where my threshold of like creativity goes to where it's like, oh, now I'm tapped out, you know.
Yeah.
Either physically or psychologically, you know. I just it's a wrap.
And it's not universal, but like as freelancers, something that you kind of recognize a pattern of is when you get these, bigger clients that are paying really, really well, they sometimes are the easiest people to deal with because they have they're going to send you the check from their accounting department, almost regardless. But when you said, you know what, I love this, I love this kid's pitch, I'm going to do this thing for $20, and then they're like, cool, and then they have the 10 changes, and you're like, no good deed goes unpunished. So every potential collaboration is the potential to go off the rails like that. So give the person all the confidence in the world that you won't be like that. And one of the ways is being respectful when it comes to talking about money and opportunity there.
Fucking agreed. You hear this, folks? This is real talk to amazing creators that are on an amazing collaborative journey within a fire book that's live on Kickstarter right now. So here, one last time before we go, Starweed.com. Support this amazing Kickstarter. I'm telling you guys, they're going to love it. I mean, and again, getting ready this book, physical, by the holiday time, God willing. So get it done. Amazing stocking stuffer for the comic book fan in your life, or the weed head in your life, significant other. Like, just if somebody just enjoys reading, let me tell you, Alex got some words in this, including with some beautiful art by Tony and an amazing team that, they could color us a letter, they're just killing it. So get it done. You can follow the guys on social, all right, just about anywhere. Alex Attica, all right. That sounds like the most stripper name I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, and this is what you do on the weekends, bro. It's like, Tony, this is how he pays you. He be doing the chip with Alex Attica.
I respect it. Sex work is real work. So
yeah, he likes to be paid in singles. What do you want?
Holy shit! And then of course you can follow my man right there. It's Tony with like the knee. You heard me, Gregori right there. And of course you can also follow and check out Tony's website as is it ELCA?
ElCaminoArt.com.
El Camino Art. There you go. El Camino Art. It takes me a minute. I'm hot.
It's me and my buddies Ibrahim Mustafa, Brian Level, Justin Greenwood, and Ramon Villalobos.
Oh man. What? Really?
Yeah, it's the five of us. It's our art studio. You can sign up for our newsletter, see what we all got going on, see any appearances, con appearances, commissions, original art sales. We handle it all through ElCaminoArt.com, and we also we're all best friends in comics, and so we decided to start a little collective art studio thing, to kind of help each other out and back each other.
And Ramon did our first variant cover, which is really, really fun.
Hey, look at it. Look at these guys. Look at this support. This is love, man. Keep dropping them names. I need a broom and a mop. I mean, so many names drop. Amazing creators in the business.
Todd McFarlane is another comic creator that has no relation to us. Oh, sorry. I
have interviewed him. So you're on a platform that I've interviewed him on. So that's great. That's great. You know what I mean? But you're just as good as him. Shit, your book is fire. So we're gonna have Starweed toys and real Starweed being sold in dispensaries one day. All because Lex and Tony said, listen, when the celebrities die, just when the turn ashes, it's a little bit in some strains, rare blends, $100 eights. I know what you guys are up to, trying to upend the market. What are you guys doing on this place? Love you guys though. You guys are awesome. Appreciate the book. Appreciate the artistry. Appreciate the skill. Folks, please check them out. This is Al Mega, Lex Wilson, Tony Gregori, comiccrusaders.shop. Check us out on social. You know what it is. We dropping stuff every week, right? And then daily on the website, comiccrusaders.com. You know what it is. Support indie comics all the time.
Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.